Right, hi lads and lasses, and welcome to Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave. This is July's edition of Hi lads and lasses, this is a Chuck and a Chat. It's July's edition, and I've had a few questions over the last month, and what we're going to do is we're going to address those questions today. So here we go over into section 1. Alright, so what we're going to do here in section 1 this time is we're going to have a look at the way that we put everything back together when we've had a bit of a fall into bits. We know this is what I call it, a bit of a fall into bits, when a certain aspect of your throw or a certain aspect of your mental side of the game has gone astray, and you need to put that right. Obviously what we preach here, and we've always done it, is video yourself. If you know something's going wrong and your darts have gone off and you're not hitting the scores that you should be hitting, and you've had that little bit of a dip, or it might be quite a bit of a dip, what you need to do is you need to identify what those problems are, and the way to identify those problems is videoing yourself and analysing what you're doing. The other way that you can do it is send me a video. You can have a personal coaching video done by me. All you need to do is send me an email, which will be down here, the email address, and I'll send you all the details of how to go about that, the 5 visits per angle and all that sort of stuff. The personal videos are personal to you. I don't mind doing them private, that's absolutely fine. I can also do over the internet coaching, so over WhatsApp or Messenger, etc, etc. So we offer all those services. So if you go on, send me an email, I'll email you straight back with the details of everything. Having a bit of a fall into bits, what you'll need to do, especially after you've had your first coaching video, you'll more than likely be able to go back and refer to that. But the most important part of when you have a fall into bits is having the ability to identify where you're going wrong. So let's say you've found a drop in your throat and you're not being able to get the darts up to the 60, you're struggling to hit double top, whereas you're doing alright when you're hitting 16s and 10s, 11s and 6s, etc, but anything up on the board you're struggling with. Now what that tends to be a lot of the time is a dropping of the elbow. It can be. So once you've dropped the elbow, then as I've said before, if that elbow drops down from 90 degrees to your torso, it's alright to lean down. Once you've set yourself up, you can lean down, because that's how we go for the bottom of the board. But if you're setting yourself up and that elbow's dropped here, once you start, then you're starting to push the dart up in the air. When you're pushing it up in the air, you've got to use your shoulder to do that, and then 1,000,001 things come into the game, and it can totally destroy your arm action. It can destroy your stance, it can destroy everything, and then what you'll have to do is build yourself back up again. But like I say, being able to identify this is probably one of the biggest parts. Putting it right then means going back to basics, so that's what we do. We identify the problem, we go back to basics, and we build ourselves back up again. If we're having a problem with something that is, like say, the release, then what you do is you isolate that from the rest of your throw. So what you do is you do practice sessions completely targeted on that one thing where you're getting it wrong. So basically you're not worrying about what's happening with your stance and everything, because that's alright, so you should be able to forget that. But if your release has gone off, so you're putting fingers into it or something like that you haven't done before, and you've recognised that, then what you need to do is isolate that part of your throw and get that part of your throw right again. Once that happens, everything will all click back into place again. So everything will then start to work properly again, and then your form will come back. Right, so obviously as you started to build your form back up again, what will happen is it all happens together this. You'll become more positive about your game. It's again, we've talked about this before, and it's the mental side of the game, and we'll talk about that in the next section. So once you start to feel a bit better about the game and what have you, hopefully you'll get back on form and then you'll start to play at your usual top level. Right, so what we'll do now is we'll go over into section 2 where we'll talk a little bit about the mental side of the game, and let's go over there right now. Right, so here we are over in section 2, and what we're going to talk about now is a little bit about the mental side of the game. So as in section 1 we've talked about having a bit of a fall into bits and what have you, and you've had to identified where you've gone wrong, you've put that right, and your game is starting to build again, and this is where I'm saying it's part of the mental side of the game. As your physical ability starts to repair itself, the same as if you've had an illness or an operation or something like that, as you start to get better, you start to feel better. When you start to feel better, you get a bit more, you start to get better a bit more quickly, and you start to feel better a bit more quickly. Well, it's the same thing in darts. When you've had a bit of a fall into bits and you've repaired it and you're starting to then fetch back your averages, you become more confident. When you become more confident, it affects your physical game, as in brings it on more, and it's just a snowball effect. It's that driving that engine that I've told you we've talked about before, getting those pedals going on a push bike and starting to go faster and faster and driving yourself forward and driving yourself to the next level. Once you've recovered from your fall into bits and you've started to get better and better and better, then what will happen is you'll get onto a plateau and you'll run for so long, and then all of a sudden something will go wrong with your throw again. The fantastic part about using the Dynamite Dave stance and address to the board and the throw, etc, etc, the whole package, the advantage in that is because it is simple. There's only 2 or 3 elements in it. There's only 2 or 3 elements to put right. If you've got a throw where you're giving it this all over the place, or you're going out from over here and over there, it may work fantastic for you for a period of time, but you wouldn't believe the hundreds and hundreds of messages that I get that say, I play fantastic, get a new set of darts, I play fantastic for a week or 2. If I have a week off and I go on holiday and I don't touch my set of darts, I come back and I play fantastic for 2 or 3 days and then I go off a cliff again. And this is all part of that. It's all part of the Dynamite Dave stance address, the whole package. If you use the whole package, if you're using small elements out of it, then what I'm saying now it will count for you, but it won't count for you in the same sort of recovery period. So if you've got a load of stuff going on in your throw and you have a bit of a fall into bits, getting all that stuff to go right again takes a long time. Whereas if you've got the very, very basic, the very mechanical stance and address and throw of the Dynamite Dave way, then you've got very few things to put right. So that equates to you being able to put that right, first of all in a matter of 2-3 days, because everything in the basic part of it is solid. So you should have a solid stance. If you've got your stance right, don't forget we've got people that are contacting me that are saying, there's 1 or 2 of them where I've done, and you can go back and look in the videos where I've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos on how to stand correctly, and then when they've come for one-to-one coaching, they're not standing correctly. Right, so here we'll go now is we'll go over into section 3, we'll go upstairs and we'll do a couple of little bit of demonstrations and a couple of addressing 1 or 2 questions that I've been asked over the last month. Right, so let's go over there now, let's go over into section 3. The first subscriber's question we're going to answer today is one of the old videos that I did, and I called it Tops and Toes. So basically how we get from the top of the board down to the bottom of the board. The person who contacted me said when they're throwing alright up at the 20s, but when they come to throw down for the 19 for the cover shot, they're snatching the darts. And I think that's more than likely because they're not actually using the altering of the body position, as opposed to throwing down with the arm. So basically, we stand on the hockey like this. What they're doing, I think, is they're going up the top for your tops, and and then as they're coming down, what they're doing is aim down like this, aiming down at the bottom of the board, rather than doing it the correct way, which is this way. Right, now the correct way to do it is, if you stood on the hockey and you're facing up, you've got your arm nice and level to your body. Obviously if you're tall you'll be slightly down anyway, but what you do is you come from the top like that, and as you come down towards the bottom you lean your body down so you're keeping the throw exactly the same, to come down towards the bottom of the board. So it's all a matter of angling the body. So, right, so up for the tops. Like so, nice and stood up straight. 19s, down. Exactly the same throw, no snatching it. Just nice and smooth. Exactly the same as you were throwing for the 60. Right, so what we're going to do now is imitate the actual cover shot. So we're up. 60, down, 19s, up, 20s, 20s, 19s, 20s. So we're adjusting the body position to come down to throw for the cover shot, keeping the rhythm, the arm speed and everything more or less the same. Obviously the arm speed will alter very slightly depending on how far down you go in the board, but your body will learn that over a period of time. So there we go, double top, and what we'll do is we'll go double 3, double top, and then what we'll do is we'll move it slightly. We'll go double 18, double 19, double 19, and then what we'll do is we'll go tops, middle, bottom, tops, middle, bottom, tops up in the air, double top, bullseye, double 3. Right, so that's how to do tops and toes, that's how to move around the board. It's exactly the same if you're moving across the board. If you want to move across the hockey for double 6 and keep the throw exactly the same, double 11, keep the throw exactly the same, or you can twist. As long as you only twist at the hips and nowhere else, you're fine. So if you're up here and you twist at the hips a little bit across to throw for the double 6, for the double 11, that's absolutely fine, or you can move along the hockey. It's entirely up to yourself. So the second subscriber's question was finishing. Now my view of finishing seems to cause quite a lot of controversy. Some people, especially the ones who've tried it and have actually adopted the Dynamite Dave way and the Dynamite Dave way of looking at things and the approach, seem to have found that it works better for them. I've got a very famous player whose kids have adopted the way that I do finishing, and his eldest son is now gone up by 23% finishing because he's using double doubles instead of going the traditional way. Now, whether you agree with that or you don't agree with that, the facts are there for me. Obviously I can't divulge you it is because that's not fair, but it just shows that it's coming along and it is actually working. I get emails, I get comments, there's stuff on the YouTube, there's stuff on Messenger, on Facebook. You go and read them and they tell you it works. It might not be orthodox, but it does actually work. So alright, I know everybody says, oh, you could go out of the board. Yeah, but you could throw for a treble and get a bounce out. You could throw for a treble and hit the treble next to it. Saying that you're going to miss is no excuse for not trying it. Saying that if I miss double 17 and hit a single 17, I can do this, that and the other. But if you hit one 17, there's nothing stopping you hitting another 17 for double top. If you've got 74, that's the way I do it. people in the pub are gobsmacked at first, but once they've played with me for a couple of hours, once they know, like my locals know, the ones that I go in regularly, they know that's the way I finish, so it doesn't shock them anymore, and they think it, and they just take it as part of the game, because I hit them more times than I don't. So it just goes to show that once you get into that way of throwing, you'll become more relaxed about it. You'll be less frightened of the doubles. So when you actually come, say you've scored a 120 and you want finger and you want double top for 160, it won't phase you in any way, shape or form, because you'll be throwing for that exactly the same way as you've thrown for the first 260s. And it does work. It takes a bit to get used to it. It takes a bit to get your head round it, but it does actually work. Right, so now what we've done is we've dealt with a couple of the subscribers' questions, so we'll go back on down and we'll talk about this month's giveaway, because we didn't have a giveaway for last month, but what we're going to do is we're definitely going to have a giveaway for this month. Right, so off we go now over into, let's move round here, section 3. Right, so here we are over in section 3, and what we're going to do for this month's giveaway is we're going to give some of the badges away. Right, so anybody who donates, so that's this month's giveaway is the actual Dynamite Dave official badge. So if you want to get a Dynamite Dave official badge, just donate £10 or more to the channel, and the badge will be on its way to you. In the comment section, it tells you in the comment section, just leave your address in there, or your name and address, and I'll get it off to you as soon as possible. Right, so as soon as you donate, the following day your badge will be off to you. And I think the new Dynamite Dave official badges are an absolute cracker. I think they look smart on any shirt. If you've got a plain white shirt, a plain blue shirt, a plain red shirt, just that on the left breast or one of the arms, and it just causes that little bit of a conversation. On your dart shirt, now these are dead easy. You've got two ways that you can actually attach these to your shirt, and everybody who's bought one, I'll give you the instructions on how to do it. If you give £20 to the channel or more, I've still got some of the signed patches left. I've only got 3 left, so it's the first 3 people to donate £20 or more will get a signed patch and a plain patch. So for 20 quid you get 2 patches, one of them officially signed and numbered, and there will only ever be 10 of this design of patch with the signature on it. Right. So thanks for watching Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave, the Chuck and a Chat for July. And don't forget, lads and lasses, you only ever get out of this game what you're prepared to put in, and always, 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 talk to the hockey!